Right, hi guys and welcome back to my channel. So I thought it was about time we did a bit of a catch up. Let's do a catch up. I have actually written some notes because I'm going to forget what I'm talking about in this video otherwise. So bear with me as we go through the video. First of all, why am I making this video now? I'm making this video because when I first started this channel, I promised that I would try and be as honest and raw as I could, and I thought it was about time I did another honest video. First things first, I am currently being investigated for other conditions, which may mean that I may or may not have fibromyalgia. So I've been having lots of tests and consultations, and even been speaking about having surgeries and things like that. But I am doing a separate in-depth video where I talk all about that. So that is coming, but obviously I'm doing, after each appointment and stuff, I talk about that. So it will come, but it will be it's in the process at the moment. So, but that is going alongside everything at the moment. So obviously things are quite up in the air for me right now in terms of that, because we still really don't know what's going on with me medically. Things don't seem to be adding up in terms of my fibro, but as of right now I still have fibromyalgia. But yes, I am being investigated for other things. Life in general hasn't changed a lot, I don't think. I guess I haven't actually on here spoken about what happened. I haven't spoken on YouTube about the passing of my Gran yet. I have done a video on TikTok briefly explaining what happened, but back in January of this year, on the 9th of January, we very suddenly and very sadly lost my Gran. And so when I say life in general, obviously that's a big change, but in terms of my day-to-day life, it hasn't changed dramatically, but obviously that is a big change. So I guess really, for those who are interested, I will talk about what happened to my Gran. So a bit of background information about my Gran and Grampy. They were and are, Grampy is still here, very active grandparents. They were literally on a walking holiday in Cornwall in October of last year. They have always been very involved, very active grandparents. We see them a lot. They live about an hour away from where we live, but the rest of my family also live in the same area as them. We are a very close family in general. So when we meet up, we tend to meet up as the full lot of us. Or I used to see my grandparents a lot in the summer. When I was growing up, I used to go and stay with them for a week. And so that was my little holiday. I used to spend with them. And yeah, I was very, very close to both my grandparents. Still close to Grampy, but it's very, very close to my Gran. In around, I think it was around November of last year, my Gran's back started getting quite sore, but none of us really thought too much of it because she does suffer with bad backs every now and then, but she'll go and see someone. I don't think she sees an osteopath, but she sees someone. I'll put it on the screen if I've got the wrong word, but she sees someone and then she'll take painkillers or whatever, and she's usually fine again. So we didn't really think too much of it, because she does suffer every now and then with a bad back. So she did what she would normally do, take pain relief, go and see whoever she would normally see, and she even, because the pain just wasn't settling, she even was wearing a TENS machine for a little while, and then it just wasn't going away. The pain was just getting worse and worse, and after a real farce, I mean, it was hard work, the whole process of this, but sometimes it is a bit like that. And my mum, God bless her, she did everything she could, phoning every single place she could, and we finally got my gran an MRI. The pain had got excruciating. She was in a lot of pain, and she was on strong pain medication from the GP. She was doing everything she could, and it was unbearable. So we got her an MRI. She was walking with a zinc frame. Some days she didn't even get out of bed. The only time she got out of bed was to literally go to the toilet and back, with the help of my grandpa. My grandpa nursed her every single day until the very end, with help from obviously my mum and her two sisters. But my grandpa took on most of it, because he doesn't like to take on help from many people either, because they just wanted to do it, the two of them. It was always the two of them. Basically, when we got her in for the MRI, my mum's a nurse, and so she's got a bit of like background knowledge. Obviously she doesn't know everything, and obviously we'd spoken to other people in the process of getting her consultations and MRIs and stuff, and kind of the worst case scenario we had in our head was that potentially she'd broken something in her back, or that she'd need surgery, or there was something slipped inside, or like there was something wrong physically with her back. That was kind of the worst case scenario, and that maybe she'd need surgery or something. And I actually said to my mum at the very beginning of when my gran started going downhill, I said, a worst case scenario, can Gran die in this? And she said no. So none of us saw this coming. Then I think it was like on the Tuesday, we got the phone call to say that it was cancer. Gran had cancer. So basically what the MRI showed was that she had secondaries on her spine, and that's what was causing the pain. So secondaries, for anyone who doesn't know, basically means that the cancer has already spread to the spine, and that is what was causing her the back pain. And we didn't know, and still to this day don't know, where the primaries are, which would be where the cancer started. And the reason why we didn't find out was because the only one we would be concerned about would be breast cancer, and she'd had a mammogram roughly 6 months before, and that was clear. So that would be the only one that we would actually be concerned about for other generations, for hereditary reasons. The other forms that it could be, we are not concerned about it, because obviously it's not something that could be passed on. And other than that, cancer is cancer. Gran had cancer. That's all we need to know, ultimately. Doesn't matter where it came from. That is the end result. So we found out that news, and then a few days later a doctor came to the house to check on her, and I think she might have done some tests, I'm not 100% sure. We also then found out that she had, because before this point we thought we had time. Even though it was devastating to find out she had cancer, we thought she had time. But it was like something had flipped when we got that phone call. Not that she knew, but it was like something flipped after that phone call, and she just deteriorated. And after we spoke to the doctor said, you've got days, weeks if you're lucky. So at that point, we then obviously called family, called everyone that was like top priority to her to come round, see her. This is all at home. She stayed in her home till the very end, and we did everything that we could to keep her comfortable. And Grampy slept next to her every single night, apart from one night when he just needed to get some recovery. But on that night, my mum slept next to her, but she always had someone with her. And then on the on the 9th of January, she was in her bed, holding Grampy's hand, surrounded by her 3 daughters. She went peacefully, and yeah, that was that. So we literally had, I think we had 6 days of knowing that she actually had cancer, which was quite intense really. But looking at it afterwards, we all just said that although it was the most upsetting thing and very sudden, it was the best situation given what, like, do you know what I mean? We I can't even get my words out. It was the best way it could have been given the situation. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it really was. It was the way she would have wanted it. So you're probably wondering why I am talking about this anyway, or maybe not, I don't know. But I've chosen now to talk about it because there's kind of no straightforward route or guide to grief. And I think that's kind of why I'm talking about it. And the last week or so, I've had this like heavy feeling in my chest and this like constant feeling of being overwhelmed. I just couldn't figure out what it was. Now, it's currently the 1st of May today. My birthday is the 5th of May. I go on holiday on the 8th of May to Paris for a week, and whilst we're there we're doing 2 days in Disneyland. And I know that some of this feeling is to do with the fact that I get like a bit of stress and a bit of worry before I have a lot of things going on. So like, I've got a pack, I've got things to do. Combined with my fibromyalgia, there's events going on, I'm going to be tired. So I know that some of it is to do with that. Don't get me wrong. I know some of it's to do with that. But even when I'm able to calm myself down about those things and talk myself down about those things and have a sensible conversation about myself about those things, that feeling doesn't go away. And now if it was just linked to those things, that feeling would calm down a little bit, it would release a little bit, but it doesn't. And I realised it's because I'm not ready to have a birthday without Gran. Now, Gran died in January. It's now May, and we've had a few birthdays, we've had a few events already in between that time. It hasn't affected me. And I think that's what's confusing me as well. And if you know me, you know I love my birthday, I love the attention, I love it all, I drag it out, I love it all. But this year I didn't even want to do anything for it. And that's really unlike me. I normally plan, like, I'm like the queen. I'm like, plan me out 4 or 5 events for the whole month. I'm there for it. This year I was like, I don't want to do anything. I didn't even want to go out with the girls. But I decided that actually, no, let's do something with the girls, because I'd rather spend the night dancing with my girls than staying in thinking about everything. So I will be out with the girls on my birthday. Look out for pictures, because there is a theme, there is always a theme if I'm involved. And I decided to put some of my energy into that rather than feeling sad. And I think it has helped. As a family, we normally get together for every event, every birthday, if we can. And that's usually up to 16 of us that try and get together. And this year, and my birthday is usually one that we do really try and make an effort to get together for. Because it's usually one that everyone's available for. It just so happens that usually most people are free for it because it's bank holiday weekend. So usually people are off work and things. So it just works out quite well. But this year it was just something that I did not want. I did not want a family get together. Because with the family get together, no matter what was happening, Gran was always there. And Gran's not going to be there this year. I know that spiritually, what's the word I'm trying to say? Spiritually, she will be there. And I know all that. And most days, that's enough. And for us, we look for her in rainbows. So, we have rainbows pretty much everywhere in our house now. In our family, rainbows is everything now. And most days that's enough. But right now, it's just not hitting the spot, you know? So, anyway, I don't really know if if there was really any point to it. I wanted to say that if you've lost a loved one and grief sucks, or it's confusing and it doesn't always make sense, then you're not alone, because I am right there with you. So, sending you all love if you're in that place right now.